she was saying our mama don't do Gloria. I mean, Gloria don't our mama because our mama got a job.
Imagine escaping the trenches of Memphis, dodging every obstacle the streets threw at you, and finally hitting a $10 million jackpot, only for your own blood to turn into your biggest enemy. We're talking about Glorilla, the CMG princess who went from homeschooling to Grammy nominations. But right now, she's not fighting the charts. She's fighting a full-scale family war that just spilled onto the internet in the messiest way possible. On February 4th, 2026, the world stopped when Glow's big sister, Victoria, better known as Scarface Woods, went scorched earth on TMZ. She didn't just call Glow stingy, she painted her as a cold-hearted celebrity who left their FedEx-grinding mother in a $2,400 a month struggle while she's out here stacking bags. But wait, before you pick a side, the receipts just hit the fan. We're talking leaked police reports from 2015 involving a loaded gun, secret $500,000 wire transfers, and the ultimate betrayal, taking hush money from the man who shot Glow's best friend. Is Glorilla a snake who forgot where she came from? Or is she a victim of entitlement syndrome and sibling jealousy? Lock in because we're about to dismantle this family explosion brick by brick. The date is February 4th, 2026.
You will sit here, see your sibling, we all struggling, and you still not do nothing. Because the struggle was so hard. Like, it was so, I'm talking about like it was, bruh, there's my sister, it ain't no clout chasing. We got the same mama, same daddy. There's not no clout chasing.
And the hip-hop world just got hit with a digital earthquake. Usually when Glorilla is trending, it's because a new anthem is shaking the clubs or she's standing on a stage accepting another award. But this morning was different. The notifications hitting everyone's phones weren't about music. They were about blood. Victoria Woods, known to the internet as Scarface Woods and the eldest sister of the Memphis superstar, decided that 4 years of silence was 4 years too many. She didn't just post a cryptic, subliminal message. She went live with a level of raw, unedited fury that felt like a pressure cooker finally blowing its lid. Victoria sat in front of her camera and painted a picture of a family abandoned. To the world, Glorilla is the success story, the girl who made it out of the North Memphis mud to sign with Yo Gotti's CMG and stack millions. But according to Victoria, behind the designer clothes and the private jets, there's a mother still punching the clock at a FedEx hub, a woman who has given 20 years of her life to manual labor and is still drowning in a $2,400 monthly rent. Victoria's voice cracked as she told the world that while Gloria Hallelujah Woods was out here buying jewelry that cost more than a suburban house, her own flesh and blood was struggling to keep the lights on. She claimed she personally had to cough up $18,000 just to keep a roof over the family's head, while the celebrity sister changed her phone number and blocked the very people who shared struggle meals with her when they had nothing. But Victoria didn't stop at Facebook Live. She took the ultimate step in celebrity warfare. She slid onto TMZ Live. This wasn't just hood drama anymore. This was national news. She looked into the camera and told the host that Glorilla had a moral and blood obligation to break bread. Her demand? It sounded almost modest on the surface. She asked for $2,500 per sibling. With 10 siblings in the mix, that's only $25,000. A drop in the bucket for a woman worth an estimated $10 million. Victoria's logic was simple. We sat in the trenches together. We took baths out of water bottles together. We slept on the floor together. Why am I still on the floor while you're in the penthouse? For a few hours, the internet was ready to cancel Glorilla. The narrative was set. Rich rapper forgets her roots. But then the counterattack started. And in 2026, the only thing more powerful than an accusation is a screenshot. Glorilla didn't respond with a screaming video. She didn't get out of character. Instead, she moved like a chess player. She began dropping the receipts. The first haymaker was a series of text messages directly from their mother. In these texts, the matriarch of the Woods family wasn't crying about rent. She was thanking Gloria for being a blessing and providing financial support that kept the family afloat. It was a direct hit to Victoria's credibility. If the mother is saying she's taken care of, who is Victoria really fighting for? Then the rest of the siblings, the ones actually living with Glow in Atlanta, jumped into the ring. They didn't just defend their sister. They dismantled Victoria's entire character. They revealed that the poor, struggling mama story was a fabrication. They dropped the real numbers. Glorilla had allegedly blessed their mother with a $500,000 cash gift, bought her a brand new house, and copped their father a luxury whip for his retirement. They explained that their mother still works at FedEx, not because she has to, but because she's a woman of faith and habit who doesn't want to just sit around. The siblings' testimony turned the tide of public opinion almost instantly. They painted Victoria not as a concerned sister, but as a pathological liar and a snake who had been trying to fleece the family for years. They claimed that every time Glo tried to help, Victoria would find a way to mess it up, bringing shady individuals around the house and creating security risks. But the real career-ending file was yet to come. As the back and forth escalated, a police report from 2015 resurfaced, and it changed the entire context of why Glorilla went ghost on her sister. The report detailed a domestic assault at a Memphis hotel where Victoria allegedly pulled a strap, a firearm, on a then 16-year-old Glorilla. According to the documents, Victoria threatened to shoot her own little sister over a heated argument. Suddenly, the ghosting made sense to the fans. This wasn't a rich girl being bougie. This was a survivor protecting her peace from someone who had once put her life in danger. The internet shifted from pay your sister to keep that toxic energy away from you. The drama then took an even darker turn when industry figures started picking sides. Finesse, too. Times, a Memphis heavyweight who knows the struggle of the 901 all too well, stepped in. He didn't have any sympathy for Victoria. He hopped on his platform and told her point blank to get off your behind and go get a job. He preached a sermon on entitlement, telling the world that just because your sibling is a star doesn't mean you get a free ride, especially if you haven't been 100 with them. Victoria's response to Finesse was pure venom. She went after his career, his physical appearance, and even his family, proving that she was willing to burn every bridge in sight. The comment sections were a war zone. Half the people were laughing at the chaos, calling it the Memphis reality show, while the other half were genuinely saddened to see a family that survived poverty fall apart over the very thing that was supposed to save them: money. And just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, the ultimate betrayal receipt dropped. Victoria, desperate for that $2,500 she claimed she was owed, accepted a payment from the most controversial figure possible, Tory Lanez. Sending cash from behind bars, Tory allegedly slid Victoria the exact amount she was begging for. The optics were catastrophic. Victoria was seen thanking the man who shot Megan Thee Stallion, Glorilla's closest friend and wannabe collaborator. It was the ultimate snake move. It proved to the world that Victoria wasn't looking for family healing. She was looking for a payout, no matter where it came from or who it hurt. Of this saga concludes, the Woods family is fractured beyond repair. The big sister is outcast, the superstar is guarded by receipts and security, and the mother is caught in the middle of a digital storm she never asked for. This isn't just a beef, it's a cautionary tale about the price of fame and the fragility of blood ties when millions of dollars enter the equation. To understand why this explosion between Glorilla and Victoria felt so personal, you have to understand the environment that forged them. This isn't just about a rapper who got rich. It's about a family that survived the Fraser neighborhood of Memphis, a place where you either stay down or you get out, but you never do both at the same time. The receipts war didn't start in 2026. The seeds were planted over a decade ago in hotel rooms and housing projects, where the bond of sisterhood first began to fray under the weight of survival. When the 2015 police report hit the timeline, the career-ending files Victoria thought she was holding actually turned back on her. The documents revealed a chilling scene: a 16-year-old Gloria Hallelujah Woods, years away from the fame and the FNF anthems, standing face-to-face with a loaded weapon held by her own big sister. According to the Memphis PD records, the dispute happened at a local hotel. Witnesses and court documents suggest that Victoria, Scarface Woods, threatened to end the life of her teenage sibling during a heated argument. The weapon was later found stashed outside by responding officers. This wasn't just sibling rivalry. This was a trauma that Glorilla carried into her stardom. It explains why, when Victoria started screaming on Facebook Live about being blocked, the internet didn't see a stingy sister. They saw a woman finally setting boundaries with her abuser. But Victoria's history didn't stop at that one night in 2015. As more files leaked, the narrative of her being the family protector began to crumble. Other siblings who had stayed quiet for years out of respect for their mama finally started airing the dirty laundry. They accused Victoria of being the reason their mother, a woman who spent 20 years dedicated to the church and her job, actually ended up behind bars at one point. They claimed Victoria had used their mother's name in shady dealings and had snitched to the police to save her own skin, leading to a nightmare situation for the family matriarch. This is the same mother Victoria claimed she was fighting for on TMZ. The irony was thick, and the fans were taking notes. Then came the setup allegations. In the world of hip-hop, being set up is the ultimate fear. The Woods siblings alleged that Victoria hadn't just been a hater from afar, she had actively put Glorilla in danger. They spoke about sketchy individuals, men with grimy reputations, being brought into the family circle by Victoria. These individuals allegedly targeted Glorilla once she started seeing success. This led back to the infamous July 2025 home invasion. Imagine this. It's WNBA All-Star Weekend. Glorilla is in Indiana, performing and living her dream. Meanwhile, back at her crib in Forsyth County, Georgia, all hell breaks loose. 3 masked, armed intruders storm the house while her brother and sister are inside. This wasn't a random robbery, it was a targeted hit. A family member inside the house had to defend themselves, letting off shots to scare the intruders away. When the dust settled, over $700,000 in jewelry and valuables were gone. But the real sting came when the police arrived. Instead of treating Glorilla like a victim, they used a search warrant to go through her master bedroom, found a stash of marijuana, and hit her with felony drug possession. Her lawyer called it unconscionable, but the streets were asking a different question. Who gave the intruders the drop? The siblings pointed the finger right back at the circles Victoria was running with. Through all this, the industry's heavyweights were watching. This wasn't just a Memphis story, it was a hip-hop case study on the cost of making it. Freddie Gibbs was seen on social media laughing at the chaos, but other artists like The Game and Finesse 2 Times took it more seriously. Finesse, in particular, became the voice of the Get Your Own Bag movement. When he told Victoria to stop riding her sister's wave, it sparked a sub-war that exposed even more files. Victoria tried to clown Finesse for his tummy tuck and his girlfriend being in jail, but it only made her look more desperate for clout. She was fighting everyone, her sister, her brothers, the Memphis rap scene, and the fans, all while wearing a GPS ankle monitor. The most shocking file wasn't a police report, though. It was a financial one. Victoria claimed on national television that Glow hadn't given the family anything. But the secret hidden receipts told a different story. Bank records and wire transfers began to leak, showing that Glorilla had been quietly funding the dreams of her non-toxic siblings. She had copped music equipment for her brothers who were trying to rap. She had paid for apartments for her sisters to get them out of the Memphis trenches. And she had literally handed her father the keys to a luxury lifestyle the day he retired. The stingy Glow narrative was officially dead. But Victoria had one last card to play, and it was the one that truly ended any chance of a family reunion. She accepted $2,500 from Tory Lanez. For those who don't know the depth of that betrayal, you have to look at the loyalty Glorilla has for Megan Thee Stallion. Megan and Glow aren't just collaborators. They are sisters in the industry. For Victoria to go on the internet and thank the man who was convicted of shooting Megan just to get the money she felt she was owed was the ultimate slap in the face. It proved that Victoria was willing to align herself with her sister's enemies for the price of a used Honda Civic. By the end of this chapter, the Woods family wasn't just divided by money, they were divided by blood and loyalty. Victoria had gone on TMZ and admitted, "It went too far. I'm prepared to not be a Woods no more." She realized that she hadn't just burned a bridge, she had nuked it. Their mother, the super Christian woman who just wanted her kids to stay out of the world, was left heartbroken, refusing to speak to the daughter who brought their private pain to the public square. As we move into part 3, we're going to look at the psychological toll this took on Glorilla, the diss tracks that followed, and the final verdict from the streets of Memphis. When the career-ending files were all opened, the only career that seemed to be ending was the one Victoria hadn't even started yet. In the wake of the Tory Lanez payment and the police report leaks, the atmosphere in Memphis and the wider hip-hop community shifted from curiosity to a cold, hard silence. The career-ending files Victoria thought would take down Glorilla had instead acted as a mirror, reflecting her own desperation back at her. But the story didn't stop at the TMZ interview. What followed was a period of musical warfare and deep emotional scarring that changed the trajectory of the Woods family forever. Glorilla, usually known for her loud, aggressive, and confident delivery, went through a period of calculated quiet. While she didn't stop touring or making music, the pain of the betrayal was visible in the subtext of her lyrics. She was no longer just the girl celebrating her freedom from F&F. She was now a woman guarded by a fortress of lawyers and security. The hidden receipts had proven she was the provider. But the price of being the provider was realizing that some people only love you for the hand that feeds them. And the moment that hand stops, they're ready to bite it. Victoria, now fully leaning into her Scarface Woods persona, decided to try and flip the infamy into a rap career. She realized that since the sister bridge was ashes, she might as well use the heat to cook. She began dropping a series of diss tracks aimed directly at Glow. In these songs, she tried to reclaim the narrative, rapping about the days before the fame, the struggle in the Fraser mud, and her claim that she was the original talent in the family. She moved through the streets of Memphis with an entourage of people who were equally hungry for the clout that comes with proximity to a star, even if that proximity was fueled by hate. But the music didn't hit the way she expected. The streets have a code, and the code says you don't take your family business to the white man's platform, TMZ, and you definitely don't take money from the enemy. Every time Victoria dropped a snippet, the comments weren't about her bars. They were about the $2,500 Tory Lanez payment. She had become a meme of entitlement. Fans started a go get a job challenge, tagging her in Indeed.com posts just like Glorilla had done. The clout she chased turned out to be a cage. Meanwhile, the psychological toll on the Woods family matriarch became the real tragedy of the saga. Their mother, the woman who worked 20 years at FedEx and raised 10 children on Christian values, was devastated. Sources close to the family revealed that she stopped attending her regular church services for a while because she couldn't handle the whispers in the pews. She had spent her life trying to keep her children out of the world, only for the world to witness their most private, painful moments in 4K resolution. The fact that Victoria admitted on national TV that their mother wasn't speaking to her was the final nail in the coffin. In Memphis, mama is sacred. When you lose your mama's support over a check, you've lost the war. Then came the industry ripple effect. The Glorilla case became a talking point for every major podcast from Joe Budden to Gilly and Wallow. The conversation shifted from the drama to a deeper issue, the tax of success. Every rapper who makes it out of the trenches faces the same monster. You become the ATM for everyone you ever shared a meal with. If you give, it's never enough. If you don't give, you're a traitor. Glorilla's situation was just the most extreme version of this. The career-ending files actually served as a defense for every other artist in the game. It showed that sometimes the haters aren't in the rival camp. They're at the Thanksgiving table. The final receipt dropped in late 2025, just before the February explosion, during a leaked jail call from Young Thug. Thugga, who was dealing with his own massive legal battle, was heard talking about Glow in a way that many felt was misogynistic. While it seemed unrelated, it added to the us-against-the-world mentality that Glorilla had to adopt. She responded with a diss track of her own. But it wasn't just about Thug, it was about every person, man, woman, or sibling, who tried to dim her light while she was carrying the weight of her entire lineage on her back. As 2026 progressed, the dust finally began to settle. Glorilla's career didn't end. It solidified. She became a symbol of boundary setting. She showed that you can love your family from a distance if their presence costs you your peace or your life. The $5 to $10 million she was sitting on was no longer a point of contention. It was her fortress. She continued to take care of the real ones, the siblings who stayed loyal, the father she retired, and the mother she moved into a mansion. Victoria, on the other hand, found out how cold the internet can be once the drama dies down. Without the Glorilla's sister headline, her music struggled to find an audience. The GPS ankle monitor remained a constant reminder of the legal trap she was still caught in. She had gone on TMZ and said, "It ain't no coming back for me." And she was right. The Woods family was now two separate entities, the one that moved forward into the light and the one that stayed trapped in the cycle of resentment. The ultimate lesson of the Woods War is one that every aspiring artist and every family in the struggle needs to hear. Money doesn't change people, it unmasks them. It doesn't create cracks in a family, it just pours light into the ones that were already there. Glorilla didn't leave her family behind. She left a toxic situation behind so she could build a future for the ones who actually wanted to see her win. As the cameras turned off and the blogs moved on to the next scandal, the image that remained was of a girl from Memphis who survived a gun in her face at 16, a home invasion at 25, and a public betrayal at 26. She's still standing. She's still Big Glow. And as for the files, they're all open now. The truth is out. And the truth says that blood might be thicker than water, but loyalty is thicker than blood. This wasn't just another celebrity beef. It was a masterclass in how fame, money, and trauma can collide to tear a family apart. Glorilla's journey from the North Memphis trenches to the top of the charts is a dream come true. But as we've seen, that dream often comes with a nightmare price tag. Victoria, Scarface Woods tried to use the internet to force a payout, but she underestimated the power of the truth and the weight of a 2015 police report. At the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, if you made it out, how much would you owe the people who stayed behind? Especially the ones who didn't always have your back. Glorilla chose her peace over her proximity to chaos, and in the world of hip-hop, that might be the most gangsta move she's ever made. What do you think? Was Victoria just a sister in pain, or was she the ultimate snake in the grass? Did Glorilla do enough for her family, or is the $2,500 demand actually reasonable? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into the industry's messiest stories, and hit that notification bell so you never miss a receipt. We're out.